Hi, this is Professional Music Reviews. I'm a professional music reviewer, and today I'm going to professionally review Epiclouder by Devin Townsend Project. And now you're probably thinking to yourself, well, this is Epicloud on the cover. I can read. I'm not a stupid person, but you are a stupid person because this isn't Epicloud. This is Epiclouder. Epiclouder has the normal CD as well as the bonus disc. This is the 5th studio album by the Devin Townsend Project. It is a progressive metal, progressive rock album, although it's kind of hard to describe Devin Townsend's style as it goes around so much and is so intricate that I don't think it broadly fits in what is typically considered progressive rock or progressive metal. Like, I've heard some people describe it as post-progressive, but then again, that term mostly applies to Steve Wilson's stuff. Yeah, so I'm going to be reviewing this double album. I'm going to try not to get too caught up on genre talking, because that could take up an entire video on its own. So the way it works is you open it up, you have both CDs and the lyric book in the center, as you can see. The CDs have sort of astrology and religious signs going around the outside. It looks like all astrology-based stuff, and then the symbol for Taoism. But I'm not particularly good with this kind of mysticism stuff. And you have a bunch of very interesting art of people without heads glowing. And on the back it lists all of the songs, the outer ring, of course, being Epicloud, the second ring being the bonus disc. In total, this is a 23-song album with 10 tracks on the demo disc for disc 2 and 13 tracks on disc 1, or the original Epicloud album. Because of this structure, I would say that the first disc works better as an album than the second disc, because the second disc seems kind of like a mishmash between different songs within different types of songs without a coherent defining factor in between them, while the first disc actually loops around on itself back to the beginning at the end from the song Effervescent, which is like a 40-second intro track, to Angel. A few highlights from the Epicloud album, the disc 1. Liberation is sort of a typical, like, incredibly upbeat metal song. It's positive, sort of like power metal, but has like the sort of very Devin Townsend-y style to it. Kingdom, which is a cover of the same song off of the album Physicist. I personally think that this version is better, and unlike the one from Physicist, it doesn't directly lead into death. It instead leads into Divine, which is a slower song. And then you have Grace, which Grace is a fairly long song. I personally really like it, but it's kind of hard to describe. It has a very, very heavy style of drumming specifically that comes through. The lyrics are very choir-filled, if that's a term. Grace and Angel specifically very heavily use choirs. Yeah, so the real standouts for the first album are Effervescent and True North, because those are kind of just one song. Liberation, Kingdom, and Grace. Those are the songs that really stick out to me on the first disc. And on the second disc, Quietus, Heatwave, Whoa No, I think, are the kind of standout tracks. The second disc has it's less coherent as a whole. It's more scattered throughout. So you're going to end up with sort of weird stuff, like one second's gonna be Happy Birthday, and the next is gonna be like a very tense, quiet song like Quietus that sort of builds similar to Key. And then you'll have stuff like the Mind Wasp, which is like, Mind Wasp is weird. And then you have Socialization, which is also quite weird. Socialization is, oh wow, that's a weird song. Then you have Little Pig, which is like a lullaby, but not a simple lullaby, that's a different song. I'm giving this album a 5 out of 10. For the rest of this video, it's just gonna rant about comparing this to Devin Townsend's other stuff. So if you don't want to stick around for that, you can leave. I do like this album, but I think compared to a lot of Devin Townsend's other stuff, this is kind of samey. It doesn't really like push forward very much. This seems like this seems like a very generic Devin Townsend album. Devin Townsend albums, in and of themselves, tend to stray away from the typical musical path, if that makes sense. But this album is like the basic Devin Townsend style album. It doesn't do anything particularly interesting. It's not like, say, Deconstruction, where it kind of goes all over the place, has complex discussions about the meaning of life in the context of fart jokes. Or it's not like Key, where it has like a somewhat solid theme, a lot of slow building songs. The closest I could say to this album is actually Transcendence. But I think Transcendence, like specifically Transcendence Deluxe Edition, does this a lot better than this album does. Transcendence, believe it or not, I actually prefer the second disc to the first disc, just because it kind of goes all over the place a bit more, but is still somewhat coherent. And Grace is really just a worse version of Higher. I get that this album came long before Transcendence, but overall this album is pretty much, in my opinion, an inferior version of it, which is why I'm giving this album a 5 out of 10. Wait, no. I'm giving this album a 5 out of 10, and for the next 5 minutes I'm probably just going to rant. So yep, that is my review of Devin Townsend Project's Epiclouder, and I need an outro.